Let me ask you something brutal, honest, and possibly painful. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling smaller than when you entered it? Have you ever laughed off an insult, swallowed your pride, or stayed silent while someone chipped away at your dignity? If so, you're not weak. You were simply unarmed in a world that rewards dominance over decency. And today, that ends. Today, I want to teach you something few are willing to say out loud. If you want to stop being disrespected, you must stop being easy to dismiss. Respect isn't given freely in this world. It's seized, it's shaped, and most of all it's maintained. You don't get respect by asking for it. You get it by becoming someone people cannot afford to disrespect. That starts with perception. The world doesn't see your soul. It sees your signals. Stand up straighter, speak slower, say less, but make your words feel like iron. People respect what they perceive as power. If you look uncertain, they'll treat you like you're disposable, but if you carry yourself like fire in a calm wind, they'll step back, even if they don't know why. You want to be respected, learn to say no without explanation. Draw a line, then defend it like a border. Stop being understanding. When someone oversteps, you teach people how to treat you. Every single time you choose silence over confrontation, you let them write your worth. That's not humility, that's self-erasure, and you deserve more. Let go of the lie that kindness will shield you. Yes, be just, but not soft. The truth is, people don't remember how nice you were. They remember whether you let them get away with crossing you. Establish rules. Make it clear that access to you comes with standards. Don't lower your voice, raise your value. Your kindness means nothing without a backbone behind it. And in every room you walk into, remember this. You are not there to prove you belong. You are there to observe who deserves your presence. Flip the lens. Confidence is not volume, it's direction. It's when your energy says, I do not chase approval, I approve of myself. And if that intimidates someone, let it, because the people who try to belittle you only do so when they feel your strength threatens their illusion of control. There's also a deeper layer to this psychological warfare, not in violence, but in quiet influence. Never reveal your full thoughts. Keep them guessing. If someone disrespects you, don't react, respond. And when you respond, do it with precision, not passion. That's how you own the space. People fear unpredictability wrapped in control. Be calm, be collected, and be capable of making anyone regret underestimating you, without ever raising your voice. From today forward, I want you to start viewing respect like currency. Every interaction is a transaction. If someone underpays you with dishonor, you don't keep showing up like it's charity. Walk away, or better yet, make them earn their way back in. You are not a public resource, you are a private standard. And that standard must never be lowered just to maintain peace. Peace without respect is just a polite form of oppression. But here's where many fall. They confuse emotions for strategy. You cannot afford that. Your emotions are tools, sharp ones, but tools nonetheless. Master your anger, train your silence. If you let people push your buttons, you've handed them your power. The moment you realize that your restraint is more powerful than their aggression, you'll unlock a form of control that cannot be taken, only feared. This isn't about being cruel. This is about being undeniable. Make yourself someone who radiates consequence, not revenge. Consequence. Let people feel the cost of crossing you before they even try. And the beautiful part, you don't need to hurt anyone to do that. Just don't make yourself easy to access. Mystery breeds respect. Predictability breeds contempt. Now listen carefully, because what I'm about to say next is not advice, it's a demand. You must become someone who commands presence through silence, enforces boundaries with consistency, and never wavers in the vow they place on themselves. Because the secret is not in shouting to be heard, it's in becoming someone whose silence makes others uncomfortable. Start today, walk differently, speak intentionally, and never again let someone believe they can tear you down without consequence. From this moment on, you are no longer asking for respect, you're teaching them to earn it. Let them talk, let them test you, let them wonder, because as they do, you'll be doing something more powerful than defending yourself. You'll be redefining yourself. You'll be transforming from someone who once sought approval into someone who now sets the bar. And here's the final truth they'll never see coming. Once you become this version of yourself, the one who commands respect simply by being in the room, They won't even dare to try you again. Commanding respect through perception, not pleading, is the foundation of psychological authority. It is not about being loud or aggressive. It's about being unmistakably seen as someone who does not entertain disrespect under any circumstances. People form judgments in seconds, and in those seconds, they do not evaluate your inner worth or your backstory. They look at your posture, your tone, your eyes, and your presence. If you appear unsure of yourself, if you hesitate when you speak, if your energy is scattered or submissive, the world will respond accordingly. Respect in its rawest form is not given to the deserving. It is given to the perceived powerful. What this means is simple but brutal. You must master the art of appearance. Your body language must say, "I know who I am and I know what I tolerate." Your tone must be deliberate, not rushed or anxious. People sense uncertainty like blood in the water. The moment you begin to justify yourself excessively, over-explain your decisions, or seek validation for your choices, you're bleeding influence. A person who commands respect communicates not just through words, but through the way they carry their words. Even silence becomes a weapon when it is used with intention. Stillness, composure, and control radiate strength far more than nervous energy ever could. Think of it this way. In most environments, social, professional, even familial, people are constantly scanning others for status cues. Who seems confident? Who seems desperate? Who seems untouchable? The world doesn't necessarily reward goodness. It rewards strength cloaked in calm. If you appear unshakable, people will hesitate to cross you. They'll begin to question whether doing so might cost them something, status, reputation, or favor. This hesitation is power, and this power does not come from shouting, demanding, or threatening. It comes from the impression that your tolerance is not cheap. Most people who are disrespected on a recurring basis have one thing in common. They give others the impression that their respect can be negotiated. They laugh off what hurts. They play along with what offends. They think, if I'm nice enough, they'll eventually treat me better. But this is a psychological trap. In reality, every time you downplay an offense against you, you silently teach others that there is no price to mistreating you. And humans are wired to exploit what costs them nothing. This is why you must stop trying to plead for respect and begin to position yourself in a way that commands it. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant or cold. It means becoming unreadable in moments where others expect submission. If someone tries to provoke you, you don't react. You respond, measured, calm, direct. If someone tests your limits, you don't argue. You enforce them. Respect is not about how much noise you make. It's about how many boundaries you draw without ever having to raise your voice. The perception you create of self-worth, of restraint, of unwavering standards, is what determines how people treat you before you even speak. There is also a subtle but powerful principle at play here. When people don't know what you're capable of, they fear finding out. This ambiguity works in your favor. If every emotion is displayed, if every move is explained, you become too familiar, too easy to decode. But when you withhold just enough, when your silence feels like a wall instead of a gap, you create a kind of quiet authority. People think twice, not because you've threatened them, but because they can't predict how you'll react. That unpredictability, contained within discipline, is what keeps disrespect at bay. Dress the part, walk with purpose, let your eyes meet others without looking away first, speak less, but make every word carry weight. Never rush to fill silence with nervous chatter. Let others feel the space you take up, not just physically, but energetically. Respect, after all, is largely psychological. It lives in the realm of fear, admiration, and value. You either project strength or you invite challenges. And in any room, in any relationship, the person who holds the perception of being not to be messed with is the one who gets respect, even when they say nothing at all. The ultimate truth is this: you cannot demand respect through words if your presence contradicts those words. People believe what they feel about you more than what you say to them, so train yourself to be felt. Let your presence speak before your mouth does. That's how you stop chasing respect and start commanding it. Power is maintained by boundaries, not kindness alone. While kindness is often romanticized as the key to social harmony, it is dangerously misunderstood when it stands unguarded by clear, unbreakable limits. Too many people believe that being agreeable, accommodating, and endlessly forgiving will earn them respect and protection. But the uncomfortable truth is this: kindness without boundaries invites exploitation. In a world governed by dominance hierarchies, the absence of firm limits is interpreted not as virtue, but as weakness. People do not value what is endlessly available. They do not respect what always yields. Respect, and the power that grows from it, is sustained only when others understand that your boundaries are not suggestions, they are rules. Boundaries are not walls, they are definitions. They define what you will accept, what you will tolerate, and where your line stands. Without that line, others will define it for you, often far beyond what you would have chosen. And when you attempt to redraw the line later, after it has been repeatedly violated, you appear reactionary and unstable. Power is lost when your standards fluctuate to keep others comfortable. Every time you allow someone to speak to you with disrespect, to impose on your time without gratitude, or to manipulate your emotions without consequence, you silently teach them that your boundaries are negotiable. That negotiation is the beginning of your erosion. To maintain power, you must stop trying to be endlessly understood and start being consistently respected. This doesn't mean abandoning empathy or compassion. It means anchoring them in self-respect. People must understand that your kindness has a frame, that it is extended by choice, not obligation. Power emerges when you are able to say no without guilt, when you can walk away from disrespect without second guessing, and when your values remain intact even under pressure. Boundaries are not selfish, they are strategic. They protect your time, your peace, your energy, and ultimately, your identity. In every relationship, professional, romantic, familial, boundaries are the invisible architecture of power. They set the terms of engagement. When others know that crossing your limits leads to clear, consistent consequences, they adjust their behavior. But if you respond to boundary violations with silence, appeasement, or passive resentment, the violator learns nothing except that they can do it again, and they will, not because they are evil, but because humans naturally test limits. It is not their job to stop themselves, it is yours to stop them. This is where kindness can become your enemy. If your compassion comes at the cost of your dignity, it is no longer compassion, it is codependence. Too many people hide behind the illusion of being nice to avoid confrontation, but confrontation is not violence, it is clarity. When you clearly state your expectations and follow through when they are disrespected, you teach others how to treat you. That lesson, once internalized, changes the power dynamic permanently, and let's not ignore the psychological weight of consistency. A person with inconsistent boundaries, sometimes firm, sometimes soft, sometimes avoidant, is more likely to be challenged. But a person who is always clear, always aligned with their principles, and always follows through on consequences becomes difficult to manipulate. Predictability in enforcement is intimidating. It removes loopholes. It strips others of the illusion that they can wear you down over time. When your no always means no, and never becomes maybe, your power solidifies. Do not let guilt sabotage your strength. You owe no one your emotional labor, your constant availability, or your unfiltered generosity. These things should be earned, not expected. And when you find that others are uncomfortable with your boundaries, remember this: their discomfort is not your responsibility. It is a symptom of losing access to the parts of you they once took for granted. Let them feel that loss. Let them adjust to your elevation. You are not here to shrink yourself so others can feel bigger. You are here to build a fortress around your worth. It is also essential to recognize that the maintenance of boundaries is not a one-time act. It is a practice. You must enforce them every day, even in small moments. The subtle remark, the backhanded compliment, the request made through guilt rather than respect, teach, is an opportunity to reaffirm your standards. Power leaks out through these tiny cracks when we ignore them, but when we address them directly, calmly, and with unshakable clarity. We send a signal: this is who I am, this is where I stand. Your power is not in how much you give. It's in what you protect. Kindness becomes powerful only when it is fortified by boundaries. Without them, kindness becomes a liability. With them, it becomes a controlled force, something others respect not because it is soft, but because it is sovereign. Boundaries are what transform your kindness from a weakness into a strength. And once people know that your kindness cannot be coerced, and your limits cannot be bypassed, they will treat you with the respect you've now made impossible to ignore. Control the narrative. Appear strong, even in weakness. This is not deception. It is strategic self-possession. In life, perception is reality. People do not respond to the facts of your situation. They respond to how you carry them. If you are hurt, but wear your pain like armor, the world sees resilience. If you are uncertain but move with composed confidence, the world follows your lead. Power is not just about strength. It's about shaping what others believe about your strength. When you control the story others tell about you, through presence, language, and posture, you gain influence that no hardship can shake. Every person experiences moments of doubt, fear, or struggle. But the difference between those who are respected and those who are pitied lies in the narrative they allow to surround them. If you show up looking broken, speaking in defeat, or behaving as though you've already lost, people will treat you accordingly. They will pity you, but they will not follow you. They will sympathize, but they will not fear disappointing you. Power begins with managing your image, even in your lowest moments. You must learn to suffer in silence when necessary, not out of pride, but out of strategic control. When you appear composed during chaos, you gain psychological dominance. People begin to see you as unshakable, even if you're waging a private war inside. This perception makes them hesitate to disrespect you because they can't gauge your limits. You become unreadable, not in a cold, detached way, but in a way that forces others to treat you with caution and curiosity. There is an advantage in being misunderstood when that misunderstanding grants you leverage. If people can't predict how you'll respond, they tread lightly, and that hesitation is the birthplace of power. Control of the narrative also means refusing to let others define you, label you, or dictate the interpretation of your actions. When someone tries to undermine you, question your motives, exaggerate your mistakes, or paint you as weak, you must counter it not with desperation, but with calm, calculated strength. Let your actions speak with consistency. Let your presence override their noise. Never explain yourself emotionally to someone who seeks to distort your image. The more you clarify for those who twist your intentions, the more power you give them. Instead, move in alignment with your truth and let the narrative correct itself through impact, not argument. One of the most underestimated sources of control is emotional neutrality. When you refuse to be visibly rattled, when you can be criticized without flinching, insulted without reacting, and challenged without cracking, you position yourself as the psychological superior. In a society driven by emotional impulsivity, the person who can remain emotionally disciplined automatically controls the pace and direction of the interaction. You become the one others look to for cues. You stop chasing power and begin radiating it, and do not confuse this appearance of strength with fakery. You are not pretending to be something you are not. You are simply refusing to show your entire hand. A leader at war does not walk into battle broadcasting their injuries. A strategist does not disclose their every weakness. This is wisdom, not manipulation. You are not denying your humanity. You are managing your message. There's dignity in suffering privately when public exposure would weaken your position. That doesn't make you fake. It makes you formidable. Control also extends to how you narrate your past and present. Speak about your struggles as lessons, not scars. Talk about setbacks as setups for something greater. Even if your life is full of private turmoil, frame it as transformation. The more you tell people that you are in control of your path, regardless of circumstance, the more they believe it. And once others believe in your control, they treat you with a different level of respect. They trust you or they fear you, but either way, they stop looking down on you. Controlling the narrative means knowing when silence speaks louder than any defense. If you're attacked with gossip, slander, or baseless accusations, The urge is to defend yourself loudly, but often the most powerful response is no response, just results. Let them talk while you build. Let them speculate while you evolve. Those who master narrative control do not need to be the loudest voice in the room. They simply become the most consistent one. And over time, consistency becomes clarity, and clarity becomes credibility. When you project an image of strength, calculated, consistent, and composed, even during your weakest hours, you stop being seen as someone to pity or save. You start being viewed as someone to respect and follow. And in that respect lies the real power, the ability to shape not just your own destiny, but how others react, respond, and relate to you, all based on the story you choose to show.